Hello, welcome back everyone. Thanks for joining me. So I have your astrological transits to bring through for July 29th through August 4th, which Mercury retrograde happens on the 4th, later in the evening though. But anyway, we have so many aspects coming from the moon transiting through, hitting all the other planets. So it'll be a busy week, but then, Sunday we have that new moon in Leo, which is really cool. And then we have Mercury stationing retrograde. So let me just take you through it one day at a time, but I wanted to kind of warn you ahead of time. It's that week before Mercury goes retrograde. Oh, no big deal. We can handle it, right? So hold on. Let me bring you over my table. Be right back. Okay, so we're starting off with Monday's chart set at 8:47 a.m. So this is Monday, July 29th. And you can see that the moon is conjunct Uranus. So this brings in a really nice, a very, very nice possibility for some new awakening, some newfound sense of inner bliss, some new inspiration, maybe even. I mean, especially with Jupiter and Gemini, we've got the possibility for inspiration there as well. But that would come more along the lines of learning and communicating and connecting and possibly even networking with other people. But this moon conjunct Uranus it's something that could come through on the deep inner levels. The moon relates to our bodies. It relates to our psyche, soul, the whole, emotional nature within. And the moon, when it transits, moves around through the different signs, it brings through a different mood. And in the mood of Taurus, we're in that, when it comes to the body, we're in that like neck and throat area. And so if you've been having any trouble, it could be that something releases and clears out. It could also be that, you do have a sudden issue there. So you want to be very careful with your neck and your throat. But then it'll pass, this, and it's been building up. So you might want to go back to last week's reading and do, go into the first comment where I've pinned the timestamps and check into like Saturday and Sunday's reading, because this would have been when the moon was earlier in the earlier degrees of Taurus, and see what was coming up there. So yeah, anyway, with the moon and Uranus being at that, in the last decan of the sign, that where we're in the like 20 to 29 degrees, that definitely is something that could be either blossoming and clearing out or blooming. It's like the full bloom of a flower type of energy. And in earthly Taurus, yeah, there's that. It could also be an earthquake with the moon ruling the earth, or Taurus ruling the earth, and Uranus being kind of upsets. The moon does have, her cycles within the earth as well. With, there's that deep resonance there. So, like I've always said before, we have to do our best to protect ourselves. It's the tsunami zones of all along the Pacific Northwest that is the scariest to me. Because there aren't enough roads to get out of the. If you're down on the beach, there's no way. There's just no way you're going to make it out, because you can't get to your car in time. You can't get to even a road that goes north. Northeast actually would be the case. To get and there aren't that many of them. That's the thing. There aren't enough roads that go from like the coastal, like PCH, up to up towards Portland, or towards somewhere in between. Because there's only a few. I think, could there be 3 at the most? I don't know. You guys let me know if anyone knows that area well. I just remember traveling through there going, nope, beautiful, but nope. Too many signs that say leaving tsunami zone, entering tsunami zone, and then leaving tsunami zone. But yeah, it's pretty much just one next to the other as you travel forward. So that's the only alarming thing that I have. Other than there could be emotional disruptions because the moon rules, like I said, the emotional body. It could be really, really good as far as like those in your bones, intuition, psychic hunches, psychic hits. The energy is great for that. But and I like that this morning there's no other aspects to the moon other than just this one. Right? I mean, as an exact. There are some, if I were to go, let's see, if I go back an hour, yeah, we have a little bit of developing opportunity there to manifest something. We have some stubborn, disruptive energy here. This would be 6:47 a.m. That could be challenging. If I go back, 5:47, it's still there. Actually, to the south node, to Ceres, both of these earth signs here. That's at 4:47, starts at 3:47, yeah, somewhere between like 3 a.m. and let's go back forward to where it's exact. Let's see, yeah, right there. Yeah, so if there is an earthquake, it would be super early in the morning on Monday. So I don't know, I just be careful, be very careful. If you do live in the tsunami zone, you could, along the Pacific Northwest, if you can get away for the weekend and stay away till Tuesday, I would do that if you can. If you can't, I wouldn't go down to the beach, of course. I mean, maybe go out for just that one night, spend Sunday night somewhere else. Sunday night the 28th. There's that possibility. But yeah, so now we also have, besides the other good aspects, the psychic aspects, the intuitive flow, I would say the other really good thing you could do, I probably should have started with this, is to set your new moon intention now. As soon as you watch this video, I'll get it uploaded today, the Thursday before this Monday. So whatever it is that you want to bring in through this next month, because the new moons are always about setting it's a new phase that comes in. It's a preparation for a new cycle. So with the new moon, you can set your intention, and maybe this new moon we want to set our intention to have a really easy Mercury retrograde experience this time, because that's coming in the same day as the new moon. And also, because the new moon will be in Leo, if you're doing any inner work, this Leo new moon can be really powerful for healing the inner child and releasing your creative inner genius, your creative self-expression. So I wanted to put that out there right away so you can, if you set that intention and you sit in meditation with it and you work with it, if you're willing to work with whatever feelings come up, there could be some major breakthrough that happens. And it could be guidance as to exactly what to work on to bring in more abundance, an easier time in life, safety, security. Taurus is all about, self-preservation and also the things that matter the most to you. It's your principles, your basic inner morals, inner principles. So however that may affect you in your life, whatever it is that you're wanting to manifest or work with or heal or, give attention to, your intention is super attention to, but your intention is super important. It's super powerful because energy wraps around our intention. Now, we do have to continue to nurture it, to nurture our intentions, to nurture whatever we're manifesting. But with the square that was Ceres up here in a square to the nodes, and this is going on all week. And not only that, we also have the sextile coming from Pluto to Neptune. That's happening all week as well. Excuse me. So with that in mind, we've got a powerful connection here from source energy that can help us rebirth if need be. Hold on one second. Rebirth and bring in something much more powerful, much more transformational that could be geared towards your independence and your freedom. So, yeah, that's wonderful there. Now, with the square here, excuse me, with Ceres in very earthly Capricorn, we're dealing with, well, we need to be careful with our knees and our, bones. Be careful for things like that because the squares bring in tension fields. So we have two tension fields up to Ceres, and they're coming from the past to the future. Mostly, I think it really would be the dynamics of relationship and autonomy, relationship and moving forward independently. And this could be socially, it could also be, personally. But with Ceres up here at the apex, where, she's there holding space for, she's our maternal imprint, basically, right? And she's holding space for whatever we're going to protect in our lives. And, there's a lot to be said about the home environment and what we're doing now, how hard we're working now. I know there's a lot of people that are working hard to find a new home. And it will come. Just trust that it will come. But these tension fields of the squares bring in like dynamic action that needs to be taken. So just keep looking, keep searching, and don't give up. It's always never give up. It's cardinal energy. Capricorn is cardinal energy that helps to orient ourselves to our goals. So we might find, with this tension field going on for this week, we might find that there's something new that we actually wanted, or a different way of getting what we wanted that we can put into action. We can go towards that goal in a new way for some reason or another. I'm not sure what it is you're trying to manifest or protect, but whatever it is, this will be an active week dealing with that. And thank goodness, it's looking like things will calm down politically this week. Although we may see something, it's anytime after August 2nd, Tanya Chutkin will be free to start her, what were we calling it when, oh my goodness, when we had Judge McAfee and the whole, oh my goodness, it's like an evidence, I remember now, evidentiary hearings. She can start an evidentiary hearing as to the classified documents, the Espionage Act violation with Trump. So that'll be good to start seeing. Now, I doubt it'll be later in the month, I would think, but she can start. But then again, maybe she's been working on this behind the scenes and it comes through. And what a perfect way to handle Mercury retrograde, right? To go back because Mercury and Virgo being Virgoian energy. Is that a word? Virgo energy. uh, being all about gathering facts. She's going to be all about just the facts, ma'am. And I think we're going to love to see that. So anyway, also, besides the Mercury conjunct the Moon conjunct Uranus, so just remember, the mood will be to protect and to nurture our abundance. And Uranus can bring through freedom and optimism. Jupiter can bring through the optimism as well. But then with Uranus, there can be a period of maybe using technology in very simple ways to get what you want. It can be maybe a little bit of emotional rebelliousness, emotional with the moon, and then a rebelliousness with a little bit of rebellion with the Uranian energy. But it's focused on the future. So if you have intuitive hits to help you focus yourself forward into the future, it can't really get any better than that. As long as you just go towards your freedom and your independence and equality, all of the good things that have to do with Uranus. Uranus is very intuitive on its own. And it can be a place where your original genius that it has been, somewhat either lying dormant, or you find a new release of energy, like right in the body, like just that direct knowing. So I see this as very good, but I do worry about earthquakes. I mean, I am concerned. I try not to worry because it's kind of, once you're prepared and you've got your go bag, which isn't going to help you at all if you're on the tsunami, if a tsunami hits and you're on the beach, or you're not on high ground. One thing I do know about that area is they were doing the best to, in Oregon anyway, they were doing the best to reinforce the schools and hospitals and fire stations. So if you can find where the closest one is to you, if you live in that area, find, of course, most everybody knows where those areas are. Hospitals, fire stations, police stations, they know where they are. But if you're new to that area, you just moved in, say, you want to make sure you know where you could go if something like that were to happen. So, yeah. And they do have a lot of seismic, what I forget what they're called, but, I would think that we would be, anybody in that area would be warned at least, a little ahead of time, I would think. But again, you can get stuck on a road and you need to go over a bridge, and there's tons of traffic, and so there's that. Okay, I'm going to stop with the doom here and move forward. You can see that we have the Sun in a sextile to Mars, which it does bring through the ability to learn something new, and then to go for it. Leo energy is go for it energy. Leo energy is enlarging your scope of power. Leo is all about courage, and it increases your opportunities, and this is an opportunistic aspect right here, this sextile. And then Mars moves energy, but because it's moving in Gemini, then what's happening here is that, we're learning. We've got the energy to learn something, or we have learned something, and we really want to move forward. Now, it is 7 degrees away from Jupiter, but this is a tremendous amount of large energy in the realm of Gemini, which again is communication, connecting the dots, multiplying opportunities, and can be pretty darn objective. Okay, so if you're connected to your heart with the Leo energy, then you're also going to be connected to your love. You're also going to be connected to your courage to love, and your courage to protect yourself. Just think of like, mama lion, papa lion kind of thing like that, right? Or mama bear, if you want to call it that way. But Leo is the lion, the lioness or the actual lion. So, there's a lot of energy there, and there's a lot of opportunity this morning. Other than that, we don't have any exact aspects, so I'm going to go ahead and go forward because I'd rather spend more time on the new moon and the Mercury retrograde chart. So Tuesday, I set the chart for 4 a.m., and of course, you can see we still have an exact T-square with series to the nodes, to the nodal axis. One more thing I will say about the nodal axis, the Aries-Libra polarity, is this will last until January of 2025, I think about mid-January. So we've got another good 6 months. And basically, it's about because Mars rules the North Node and Venus rules the South Node, because Mars rules Aries, Venus rules Libra and Taurus. It's really about what are we going to take action on in our lives? Like, what's worth fighting for, right, over here, and that's the direction we're heading. And then we're balancing out over here with the Venus energy, with the Venusian energy. So this has to do with relationships, because Venus is over here, and seeing relationships as mirrors, in our lives, and could be motivating us to be more independent and heal relationship. We're also in the realm of dependency and codependencies. Are we going to heal in those relationships, or are we leaving because of the vicious circles? Like if the healing can't happen together. But it's really, it's cardinal energy at both ends. So it's movement both ends. I just could never say, or would never try to say for anyone, whether it's to go away or to go forward in relationship. Or maybe it's going forward in having a tighter, stronger relationship with yourself, which is healing for all of your relationships. So, yeah. And then there's so much, too, about peacefulness and fairness with this Libra South Node. And it really is the fight for justice with Mars at the North Node. It really is. So, yeah. Okay, now, for Tuesday, you can see the moon has made it quite some length, quite some distance. This is how fast the moon moves, and has crossed over to the other side of Mars. Now, if you're an early morning person, it's very possible that you could have woken up even earlier and couldn't go back to sleep. And that would be because the moon was bumping up against Mars. And there's just so much mental, with the Gemini energy here, that you're just up, So hopefully you're watching this early, and this would be the admonition to, get yourself to sleep earlier before on Monday night, because you're probably going to wake up early on Tuesday morning anyway. Now, with the moon, you can also see with the 7 degrees Gemini, you can also see the semi-square here over to Chiron. So semi-squares bring through the need to try and make a decision, but it can be kind of undecisive. But it's like something's bugging you. There's some friction. Now, the friction coming from Chiron in Aries could possibly be, and it's retrograde no less, could possibly be that you're working on moving forward, being a little more self-assertive. I mean, it is in the last decan of the sign, so there is a deepening there and a blossoming coming through. So maybe there's something that comes up, and there's a little bit of an abandonment issue that comes up. Like maybe Maybe somebody hasn't been communicating with you as much as you'd like, and then this morning you wake up having a dream, and maybe there's some deeper understanding of like what's really going on, or how you could have some conversations within while you're still waiting for connection or communication to come back. Or maybe outright guidance as to, okay, now what do I do? Because Chiron in Aries is all about, healing that deeper abandonment and impulsivity within that has you kind of like grabbing on. And when you can really let go, that's usually when it comes. It's just the way it works. The opposite polarity there. Just be on that peaceful bridge of Libra, and kind of let things go. And then suddenly things will just shift without you having to do a thing. So, yeah. And then the other piece, that I always say when it comes to abandonment issues, if you don't abandon yourself, if you meet the pain of the abandonment in the outer world and you love yourself through it, you're not abandoning yourself anymore. And that's usually what heals it and turns everything around. And that's especially true with the sesquisquare that we have going on here from the North Node to Venus. Venus and Leo, and again, there's that 23 degrees. And Venus in Leo is also trining Chiron, right? So there we are. I would say we could use this to a little bit of a stubborn degree to hold on to yourself, hold on to your love, hold on to your courage, hold on to your heart that has the courage to love. And if there's any disruptive energy to moving forward, don't worry, it'll shift. This is a temporary, it's an exact exact aspect this morning, but it doesn't have that much power. It is one of the weaker aspects, and it will move on. And then also because of the semi-square to the south node coming from Venus, again with the semi-square, there could be some indecision in a relationship issue, or it could be relationship, and it could be anything that keeps you balanced. It might be that you figure out the things that's causing a little pull and an imbalance in the heart and in your creative self-expression too, because Leo at that 23 degrees is just, that's a very deep and bright, amount of blossoming there. And it could be that something comes up from the past, being that the South Node's related to the past. And now there's a little bit of it's like, oh, dang, I didn't think of that. And now there's a little indecision as to where you were going to move forward. And you had that courage going on, because there's the trine coming from Chiron, which when we do work through all of our Chiron issues, then our deeper gifts come through. And at that later degree of Aries, anyone that has Chiron in Aries, their whole path has been to know how much they matter, know that they deserve to win. That your initiation moving forward in life, your trailblazing self, assertion is very good, that's a really good thing, and might be in the alignment of, how even some divine timing, because they kind of know like when to go, in what direction to go in as well. So all the Aries gifts of being present in the moment and that self-assertion is good, ruled by Mars, right? So again, there's that Mars and Libra energy, and then Venus over here ruling Venus and Taurus. There are some connections, but there might be some hesitation this morning because maybe a little indecision. So yeah. Now, on another level, too, if you've gotten a new job And if you have, placements in Libra and Leo, it's possible these transits could relate to some, or the semi-square here, can relate to some on-the-job training that comes through. So that's never a bad thing. Especially if they're cross-training you or you're learning something new that you didn't even think of having that opportunity when you took on the job, and now suddenly there's something new that comes in. That's a real possibility there too. So, okay, let's see. The sextile there from Pluto to Neptune is still going on, so spiritually sourced energy that can be really strong and powerful at that 29th anaretic degree. And can really help you to rebirth. Just think of like the spiritual fluids within. The water, all the water in your body, and then how powerful that can be. Or think of going through a rebirthing process where it's like you hear the caterpillar in the cocoon liquefying, and you don't know what's going to be on the other side. You have no idea you're going to turn into this major, this beautiful butterfly. You don't even know what color you'll be, but you're in that opportunity, right? You're in that gestation, and rebirth is coming. Definitely. Your evolutionary gateway within will be opening. So, yeah, that whole transformational process there. Okay, now we can also see, notice how the sun's at 7 degrees Leo, and it's trining the north node. So there's light shining on your path. The north node is the direction that we're all going in, so we're all going towards more, maybe more, what's that word, shameless self-promotion. Where we're daring to show up, we're daring to step up and assert ourselves, and we're honoring our unique individuality. And stepping into your leadership, there's that very real possibility, because with the sun in Leo, that is definitely leadership energy, right? And with the trine, there's just that quick flow. So maybe first thing in the morning, maybe something comes through in dream time, and you wake up going, oh, I hadn't thought of that. I'm going to try that. And again, with the sextile coming from, this exact sextile from the moon, a very, very real possibility something comes through in dream time, and then the sextile to the south node, something that you've already been doing from the past, and now there's a new opportunity. How this could play out politically is that, with Mercury ruling the news and Mercury being in Virgo, we don't have an exact aspect today, but Mercury's there, holding space in that early sign of Virgo. Like I was saying before, it's all about the facts with Virgo. The best light of Virgo coming through is discernment and things that we're learning, right? Mercury's teaching, Gemini's teaching over here. This stellium in Gemini is fantastic for that. Although the moon will move on quickly, but still Mars is cooking pretty quickly, getting ready to light some major fire with Jupiter that can be very big. And Mercury ruling Gemini and Virgo, again, we're learning more and more and more, and it's just the facts. And then we could be moving, we will, when Mercury retrogrades backwards, we will be going over that same territory that we've already traveled. So we will be revisiting whatever happened in the past. Well, we know what happened in the past on July 13th, and we know that the, that FBI director gal, I can't remember her name, she stepped down, she resigned. But with her testimony, there was a lot of information there that came out, as to how underfunded they are, and, but still, bad decisions were made. and things were glossed over. And that can be part of, with Pluto and Aquarius it's been at the early degree and retrograding back. It can be withholding. Aquarian energy can be very withholding and kind of cranky and kind of detached. And that's not good when it comes to needing to protect. So with the Sun and Venus, of course, now, but especially with the Sun moving through all the degrees of Leo, and Leo being very protective, and Leo right here, the Leo Sun being at the apex here of these two sextiles coming from the Moon ruling the public, South Node being the past. I think there's probably going to be quite a bit that comes out today in the news. Now, granted, with the Sun in the first decan of the sign, we're in that area of developing something. So hopefully it's a plan for the future. But yeah, but protecting to protect people who are running for president on either side, either party, just protecting people from violence. But gee, there's that really can't happen until these automatic rifles are taken out of people's hands who should have never gotten them in the first place, or just having them banned. Maybe we just need an assault rifle ban. Gee, do you ever think that might be the key? We could learn from Australia and New Zealand, right? Anyway, so I think that's about it for Tuesday. On the personal level, like I said, it's really good to focus on what you want to create. Let your intuition guide you, and let all the tools that you've been gathering in the past be by your side. You have a big tool belt, so it's time to remember what you have. Go for what you love. Developing that foundation, always going for what you love is going to be the key. Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to Wednesday. Wednesday, I left it at 4 a.m. Crazy early, but I'm trying to get it at a normal time for the East Coast as well. And you can see, like I said, sextile still the same from Neptune and Pluto. We still have the T-square coming from Ceres, but we also have an inconjunct quincunx, the 135 degree aspect coming from the Sun to Ceres. So there's an adjustment that needs to be needed because we've realized something isn't working as well as it could. Maybe we're cluing in, or maybe we're having trouble with either manifesting something that works smoothly, correctly, or something has come to our attention. The Sun can shine a spotlight, and then in Leo we do, there is attention. Leo's all about attention. So it could, and maybe it has to do with a child. Leo rules children. Now it also rules our inner child, and of course, and it rules our fathers too. But when it comes to Ceres, we're talking our maternal imprint. Maybe there's some light shining today on remembering something that happened in our childhood. And because of that, now we know why we have this false belief or this attitude that's not so constructive. Might even be pretty well, in the other direction. And once you know what that is, then you have the ability to turn it around. Of course, you have to process the feelings. You have to question the false belief from all different angles. But you can get to the truth once you do that, and then just completely turn everything around. And that certainly would activate this aspect of the architect that's going on as well. You see how we have the trine from the Sun to the North Node. The nodes are just sitting there holding space. That nodal axis is sitting there holding space. And then other planets are, well, the faster moving planets are moving around and giving aspects. But anyway, and so are the outer planets too. But with the sun being here at like kind of like the handle of the bucket, if you look at this as being like a bucket or half of a bucket, or a bucket, just a big scoop, like the handle's here. Well, we're filling it from what's back here from the past, and we have a lot to splay out this way, to pour out this way. So what is it this day, on Wednesday, July 31st, that you want to grab a hold of, and what do you have the courage to put yourself out in what area? Remember, again, you have all those tools from the past, all of your relationship skills, all the places where you're really balanced within, and then now you can pour in a brand new way from the vessel, from your inner vessel. You can pour out into your life, into your world, and you have all the power inside of you. That's how it goes. Okay, now Venus is, again, we have those two sesquisquares here, and one's going up to, like I said, Ceres, so I do feel like it's possible. I mean, this is another, this is a reinforcement of everything I just said, that there could be something healing from deep within that has you kind of a little disrupted this morning. And it could very well be something that comes out on the news and you're feeling a little disrupted and off. And then again, that energy kind of disrupts your forward movement. But it's also possible that all this courageous energy here with the sun in Leo, like wherever this is transiting in your chart, where is 8 degrees of Leo in your chart? Where's 24 degrees of Leo? The sun and Venus are there. You can take all of this. If you have your chart, you can print out a clean copy of it, and you can put all these planets in the particular houses and do some really good work in discovering, possibly tracking your future and discovering maybe some things that need to be healed within, and timing, all of that. You can really do well. So anyway, when we have two of the sesquisquares coming from Venus, this one up here is headed in the direction of what do you want to nurture, what do you really want to protect in your life. And then the North Node is like maybe a little disruptive energy to moving forward, because now you realize, oh, I really do need to take care of this, whatever this is. It might be like a whole day spent on getting everything together for, food supply, and then taking care of your animals, because Ceres relates to small animals as well. Now, Ceres sometimes is connected to grief and separation. So this disruptive energy from Venus, it could, it's possible that there's a woman in your life that you're needing to support. And, and if you guys always, if you need any prayers, please drop it in the comments. So many people in our community just love sending prayers for whatever you're needing. So, yeah, okay. The sextile there, let's see, and the trine, taking care of that. I think we can go ahead and move forward to Thursday. Oops, I think I moved it here. So Thursday, we still have the inconjunct quincunx from the Sun to Ceres. So there's, another day to make those adjustments, to get things working right. And we also have, now the moon is in Cancer. So now we're not thinking so much. Now we're feeling a lot more. Cancer is very subjectifying. It helps to integrate, though, because when you're really in touch with your feelings, it really just helps to, it brings in that energy of just kind of melting into what really matters most. And it does help you bring in more opportunities in the realm of what can make you more and more secure. And you can see that we have the sextile over to Mercury. So Mercury in Virgo is, giving you some facts as to how do I create more order in my life? What particular little details do I need to attend to? It would be a good day for, getting your schedule together, maybe for the following week. Yeah, but again, back to that Virgo energy, it's important to, take this opportunity, use the opportunity of the sextile to maybe discern. Maybe it's something about discrimination and discernment and, connecting the dots. Maybe you're really trying to figure something out, and this is the day for it, and your intuition will help you as well. If you're headed towards more security, getting your house, it could even be just getting your house together in a way so that it flows better. And it could be dietary with Virgo, with Mercury and Virgo, and, Cancer being related to the tummy and food. And with Uranus over here, of course, in Taurus, that's all about food. New types of food that make you more healthy, or letting go of foods that don't. Let's see. We also have, that's Mars in a semi-square to Chiron. Wow, okay. So the movement of information that makes you feel like you have to do something, you have to take some action to be more independent. That's a possibility this morning. And it could come through in the form of, okay, the information came in. Okay, so now that I know that, then now I know which way to go. But it is something, like an action that you have to take with the semi-square there. And it could be, it could feel like a little bit of friction, especially if you wake up in the morning as something you didn't know you had to deal with, but now suddenly it's kind of thrown into your schedule. That would make sense to me. So, yeah. Let's see. The sextile there, we've taken care of. Venus. Wow. So, unifying, harmonizing, beautiful Venus that can make those comparison values and can go towards our self-worth is in an exact trine to Eris. And remember, Eris is our divine, feminine, righteous anger. And I was doing some research the other day. I don't know how it just kind of came towards me, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. Eris was conjunct Uranus during the Me Too movement. And, that's when Uranus was way back here in Aries. So, yeah, that's an interesting little tidbit. And then the other thing that I looked up, because it got me to wonder, because I keep saying, oh, she stays in the sign for 556 or 558 years, but I figured out that she came into the sign of Aries in 1926, and I can't remember when she leaves. Is it 20? I think it's 2049, something like that. She stays in the sign for that length of time. That's a long time. 1926 to, no, it's 2048. I remember now, it's 2048. Yeah. I'll be dead by then, but see, that's the thing. Whatever sign she's in, well, it's possible to go from one sign to another if in the later degrees. Like that'll happen to the new generations coming in. But, yeah. So, anyway, that is that's about that for Eris. I think that's it for Thursday, too. Let's go ahead and go to Friday. Now, Friday we have Venus in an exact square to Uranus. So there could be some relationship issues, and you're in a tension field if it is. It could be a creative, self-expression issue, and then something comes in suddenly with Uranus that kind of upsets things. But sitting in that tension field and working in that tension field, it can certainly be challenging, and it can certainly be an obstacle. And it appears that we have to act. But maybe it's better to sit in it, especially if it's a relationship. Maybe it's better to not make any decision and to not act. And that's the challenge. It can be, and especially with Uranian energy that can be detached, we have to be careful that way. Unless it's an outright, need to protect yourself, because it can be fight or flight energy. But squares help us to manifest and master something in our lives. They're challenges, but they turn into strengths, because we know, we've had it. I mean, trust me, I have a grand square in my chart, and it's been hard, but it's turned into a great strength, a lot of great strengths within me. So but if we don't go into fight or flight and we just sit in that balanced place within, then maybe we'll get information from Uranus that can help us to really see what's going on. Maybe the intuitive forces will come through, and maybe it has to do with like reinventing our courage in relationship. Like we're reinventing a place in ourselves where we have more courage in relationship. It doesn't mean you go. Doesn't mean you leave or stay or go or what make any change. It just means that you're like solid in a place within. It's like, that's not working for me, or here's my perspective, or whatever. Conversation can happen. And that's especially because Mercury's close to Venus right now. And of course, when Mercury goes retrograde, it will go over this place. And I'll talk about that when we get there. I'll take you through the degrees and all of that. But yeah, and then we have the inconjunct quincunx here going on from Ceres. So again, maternal imprint, energy, needing safety, trying to manifest, be protective, and then an adjustment to something that's coming in because Mars in Gemini is bringing through. We're still in that first decan where we're trying to develop a foundation based on what we've learned, but it keeps changing because Mars brings through change. It moves energy, and we keep learning new things and connecting the dots. But now Mars is closer to Jupiter, and Jupiter is bringing in, again, something that helps us to have a more expansive outlook and hopefully have more faith in ourselves. But there's still learning going on, and that's especially true because of the sesquisquadrate going up to Pluto. There's some powerful disruptive energy. And so, politically, I wonder what's coming through on Friday, because again, we're still learning it, and it's being put out there. And that will, when Mercury retrogrades, and we're in the shadow anyway. We've been in the shadow since, I don't know, something like July 19th or so. So, yeah. The shadow meaning that Mercury will go back over the place that it's already been, transiting through. So, but I'll talk about that again when we get to Sunday. Let's see. Well, with this semi-square here from the moon at 18 degrees, so now the moon is in the second decan, almost in the third. Later on in the day, it'll be in the third. Again, learning lessons, And with the sextile over to exact sextile early this morning, this is at 6:27 a.m. We've got the exact sextile going on to Saturn as well. So there are lessons in mastering our spiritual foundations and creative, whatever it is that's more inclusive than ever because it's in Pisces. And with the flow of energy, there's an intuitive flow. I mean, between Cancer and Pisces, it's sensitive to know. I mean, Scorpio is too, but Cancer and Pisces, well, Pisces is the most sensitive. Cancer wants us to protect ourselves so that we can be sensitive and be vulnerable and be psychic and be empathic, because that's good, but we're not so extroverted. And so there could be some intuitive hits that come through early this morning, just as to how to handle your empathic abilities and what your body needs in order to function strongly, because, Saturn always helps us to learn how to master an area of our lives. So wherever Saturn is transiting in your chart now, that area of your life is undergoing a huge, depending if it's one house or two houses or whatever, this time it's a 3-year transit we've been going through. It's usually 2.5 with Saturn transits, but Saturn is having a 3-year transit this time. Yeah. So anyway, and if you guys just remember that if you ever want a handout that I created on the houses, all the meanings to the houses and the opportunities, you can just take the energy of the planet, know what house it's in your chart, and then take the house, because it represents an area of your life, and you can make the most of the transits that way. But anyway, if you just email me, there's hot links to my, there is a hot link to my email. It's dkdivination@gmail.com. And just say, house document, please, in the heading or whatever. You don't even have to say much. And I'll email it right back to you. And no, I am not farming emails. I don't save those emails. I don't like having a lot of emails in my in my inbox. So you unless you contact me, you'll never hear from me again. So okay, I'm not into marketing, as you can tell. Let's see, anything else? I've taken care of this one here. This one here. Uranus to Venus, yes. Saturn to the Moon. Mars sextiling the North Node. Ooh, now there's an opportunity to move forward in some new way based on some new level of information that you've received, or some new level of learning something more deeply. That I like. Okay, let's see what else. We have to go for these opportunities. Oh, and of course, this is the aspect of the architect going on here. You've got one sextile from Mars, and then the exact trine to the South Node, and then Mars being at the handle of this bucket. Wow. So there's a flow going back and forth is what I'm getting. Whatever it is that you're meant to do as part of your current life path, and you can wander, you can go in different directions and still, it's not so set in stone. The only things that are set in stone is that women are here to learn to be independent and to manifest their own money, to not be financially dependent on men, and men are here to not be emotionally dependent on women, and we're all here to learn autonomy within. There's some, basic rules, but other than that, and that doesn't mean that you don't go through periods where you're financially dependent on one partner, and it goes back and forth because, maybe someone's going through college, or someone's having a baby, or someone's taking care of a person in the family or a friend who is really, really needing support, time off and all that. I don't have judgments for any of it. I'm just talking about the human process, the process of human evolution. So let's see. With that being said, with this aspect of the architect here, there's just, again, that movement of information that helps you go forward, but it's also connecting with the past. And it could be a relationship, but it could also be something that comes out to comes into our awareness from the judicial system. Maybe something is starting to happen. Maybe Tanya Chutkin does announce today that she is starting her evidentiary hearing, because any time after this date, she can. Wow. Okay. Now let's go to Saturday. Saturday, we have the moon opposing Pluto at 5:19 a.m. It's exact. So it's building before that. Definitely some powerful dreams could come through, and you can see how the moon's moving close to the new moon. That's when it's exactly conjunct. It'll be at 12 degrees, 34 minutes, but I'll talk about that tomorrow, in tomorrow's chart. We do have an aspect of the architect coming from the moon, so the courageous Leo moon that feels more courageous than ever. It's at that ripe degree of, hoo-hoo, I am here, I have something to say. This will be great for being around kids, too. They'll be very entertaining. So anyway, with the trine up to Neptune, this could be a really great day for some form of entertainment, and then maybe it's transformative type of entertainment with the sextile coming from Pluto. This is interesting. With Neptune ruling, creative Pisces and being at that 29th degree, I feel like maybe there's some kind of like streaming, because Neptune rules, film and media and, everything watery and film, things that are made from gaseous materials. So we're talking the oil and the earth and all of that too. Well, Capricorn can have a part in that as well, but film, like you think of, things are digital now, but then there are movies shot on film, and I'm wondering if there's some powerful program, that a movie or something that is released today. You guys let me know if there is something. Let's see. The sesquisquadrate coming from Jupiter, the expansive Jupiter that's always looking for what's the wisest path, what is the truth, what can I put my faith in, what do I really believe in, is what I believe in something I can, really trust. It's all of that. It's kind of our philosophy about life. It can be overconfidence. So I have a feeling somebody is going to be shooting off their mouth. Gee, who's the Gemini person that you could think of who's always talking trash? And there's a disruptive force going on out to humanity because of what this person has said. Now, his son, I think, is at 22. What is it? Oh, I'm not even going to bother. I'm not wasting my time with it anymore. Cards, yeah, because it's fun. I'm not wasting much more astrology energy on him. It's for you guys, not for him. So anyway, but yeah, information, overblown, putting it out there, and thinks he's powerful, but it causes whatever he says such a dang disruption that it pushes the energy out, and people run in the other direction. Because remember, a sesquisquadrate, it brings through, it can be stubborn energy, but it also turns, well, it's usually just a detour that has to happen because somebody's been so disruptive. And that's further reiterated by the fact that Mars is in conjunct Ceres. Ceres can be grief and separation. And, you know, there's only 5 degrees of separation between these signs here, actually. Well, close to 10, but yeah. But Mars is catching up. We'll probably be dealing with that next week. Jupiter is also semi-square. Look at that. Well, there's 2 here. We have the one semi-square coming from the moon. So possibly verbose, you know, just putting it out there, expressing, embellishing to get, it's a grift. It's the grift. There's something about his grift, I think, that's probably going to come out on Saturday. Wow. Now, because this is at 5:19 a.m. and all of these aspects are exact, we could say that it could come out on Friday night, too. And then it's the most disruptive on Saturday morning for him. And because the opposition here from the moon to Pluto, right? This luminary of the moon is illuminating someone who's abused their power. That's interesting there. Now, for the rest of us, this can be a confrontation with somebody who seems to have power over you, but maybe they don't really. When you get down deep inside of it, maybe they don't really. And maybe you just connect with that place deep inside of you that intuits the fact that it's your personal power that controls your life. And your emotional response with the moon in Leo may very well be to express yourself in a very powerful way, and you now have a breakthrough, because the oppositions can always be, they start out as a confrontation, but they can turn into a breakthrough if you work the energy correctly. It can help you enhance an opportunity here with the Leo energy. Now, on the dark side of Leo would be somebody who is an energy vampire, and we all know who that is. I mean, God. The things he's been saying this last week are unbelievable. He's trying to call his name for Kamala is calling her a commie. Like, what? Of course he's in 100% projection transference. He's the one who's oh, I can't say the word I want to say, but he's the one who's a buddy to Putin, you know. He's Putin's puppet. So there's that. So the energy vampire, the shadow will be seeing the shadow, that's for darn sure. And then, you know, moving closer and closer to the new moon, it'll be off of Pluto, but it's still, there's something on Saturday, maybe Friday night and Saturday, that is not going to be good for him. I don't believe it'll be good for him. And this will be coming through in his 12th house of self-undoing, a very karmic house of self-undoing, or connecting with spirit, but he doesn't do that. Nah, he doesn't. He just never believed in that. So yeah, so drama, a drama king, drama queen, drama, just so much drama. You know, J.D. Vance is quite the drama queen, isn't he? So we've got a drama queen and king now. Well, I guess we can say it's kind of entertaining, but aren't we getting tired of it? So, yeah. And then again with that T-square, grief and separation, because of relationships, burning bridges in relationships, the GQP is no longer the grand old party. It's the party of a cult, and it's changing its forward movement. You know, like this would be in their chart somewhere, but I never could get an exact time on when it was created. If anybody knows that, let me know. Let's see, Mars In conjunct Ceres, yes, the adjustment based on information coming out. We've already spoken about that. Is the information true that's coming out? Because it's connected there to the moon. For us, there'll probably be something really great to watch, to stream online or watch on TV. Or, be careful with COVID, though. There's new, I was going to say maybe going out to the movies, but there's a new COVID strain going around, so be careful with that. Unless you don't mind wearing your mask the whole time. I think that's probably a good thing to do until we get the new variant booster anyway. But there are a lot of people who can't get the vaccine, so masking is always going to be the most proficient way to protect yourself. Let's see. I did cover the moon to Jupiter there with that semi-square, but there's another one here coming from Mars to Chiron. So, and again, the semi-squares create friction. They create some indecision, but you need to act and you need to make a decision, but you don't know what it is yet. So maybe we're deciding what to do with all the information coming out. And with this one over here to Chiron, just make sure you're coming from the place where you don't abandon yourself. You don't become impulsive and try to grab onto something because you're afraid the opportunity will leave. If it's meant for you, you get to have the time you need to decide if that's the way you want to go. Right? Anybody that ever says, you need to tell me by this certain time, and it's like, less than a day, or what that's coming from really dark energy. That kind of, you see that kind of crap on, I haven't watched it in years, but Shark Tank, Mr. Wonderful. Yeah. No, thank you. Okay, Sunday. Here we have the Leo new moon first thing, 4:14 a.m., August 4th. You can see that we have the moon conjunct the sun, which is what a new moon is. And there aren't any exact aspects to it. So the backdrop energy is the same as before with Neptune to Pluto. We've got the rebirthing energy, the evolutionary gateway opening. We still have Ceres in the T-square with the nodes. The leading edge in our lives is to protect what matters most, and we have our loyalty to humanity and animals and food and farming, and this might have to do with, we might see with this new moon, we might see some more, we may see a lot of protests going on for women's rights, for women's reproductive rights, because that's primarily what Ceres is all about. And then with the in conjunct over to Venus, that further reiterates that, because Venus is at the 29th degree of Leo, and Venus doesn't have any retrogradation this year, so she's going to move pretty quickly into Virgo. But in Leo, Venus at that 29th degree, that anaretic degree, things are intense. And because things are intense as to women's rights, there is quite the adjustment that we'll all be making spiritually. And, well, it's more than that. It's being more sensitive and all-inclusive to everyone's rights, because with Leo, it's very open-hearted and courageous at that 29th degree, but it has everything to do with unity and harmony. It's everything that the GOP is against, but it's everything that the Democrats are for. So this could be a lot of women getting on because of Kamala, well, and because of Biden, because of everything that he's created, within that foundation, that she can now jump on, and, well, she helped him too. It's been a joint effort. But anyway, for us, it looks to me like we now have the ability to, there's the adjustment though. That still has to be there. Something's off kilter, something's requiring an adjustment. But I think this is women having the courage to jump on the bandwagon because they have this place deep within where they understand that we're supposed to include. Neptune is all about unifying consciousness. It dissolves in Pisces. Neptune dissolves. Pisces dissolves. So there's a double whammy of dissolving energy that is numb to everything that's going on. Right? So these people who are gullible in a cult, they are completely numbed out. There's got to be some racism in there that they're not in touch with, or maybe they are in touch with and they've just really dug down deep into their lower selves and said, this is what I'm about. It's like, whoa, okay. But Neptune has the power to transcend, right? So maybe there's some really powerful women coming out on Sunday, August 4th, with this new moon intention to create more inclusive energy. Because Pisces is about healing and including everything and creating spiritual opportunities. And of course, with the sextile to Pluto, it's very powerful there, a very powerful opportunity. So I'm not seeing this as a bad, adjustment. It's just that there's that realization that things really need to be changed, and then we've got all this feminine courage here. The little semi-square to Mars is still there. That was there yesterday, so I don't have to speak to that, except for just, reiterate that there's more information coming out, and the courage with that connected to Eris. I mean, Mars and Eris is, especially in Aries, it is fighting type of energy. They're both very courageous there. So there's the courage of the word, the courage and the power of the word moving out in a very forceful way with that. Wow. Okay. So let's talk about the new moon. Okay. Wherever 12 degrees of Leo is in your natal chart, and it could be on a house cusp. If that's the case, you would have to read both houses, but knowing that each house is an area of your life, wherever 12 degrees 34 minutes is in your chart, this will be the area of your life that you can be the most effective with your intention. And remember, new moons are for setting intentions. It's like just like imagine you want to grow a flower and have it on your windowsill, or you want to have some microgreens on your windowsill that you're growing or whatever. The new moon energy is when you plant the seed, right? And then, of course, we have to nurture it. It needs sunlight. We need to shine the light on it. We need to water it. We need to, if there's any weeds, if it is an actual garden, you got to pull the weeds out. There's that whole phase. But the moon phase, the phases of the moon relate to our bodies, relate to the ocean, relate to everything that grows. So anyway, with the new moon, just know that there's a new development that's going to be taking place during this month period, the next 28 and a half, 29 days. And if there's any, I usually only use a 2 to 3 degrees at the most for conjunctions. But if you have any planets between, I'll say 9 to 15 degrees of Leo, and then this new moon would be a direct hit. So let's say it's on your sun, you could have a lot more energy coming in as to really knowing who you are, deep in your core. And so because this new moon is in Leo, and Leo rules the sun, or the sun rules Leo, this is a very energizing new moon for everyone. It's a new moon where we can be more, self-expressive, where we can, we have something to say usually with a Leo new moon, or some way of expressing ourselves. And it's like, just think of how kids play and they create and they make up things. They're very creative. It's like that. So think of what it would be like to just pull out all the stops and go for what you want. Like, what would you create? And do some of that today, because that'll help. And then, like I said, whatever house it lands in, that's the area of your life that you'd be able to be the most effective. But again, if you're a Leo with, anywhere between 9 and 15 degrees or so, this would be a direct hit coming in. So super powerful. Now, it could also be, in the opposite sign, like if you have anything in Aquarius between 9 and 15 degrees, then this new moon would be opposing a personal planet over here. Now, the squares, if you want to try and look at a square, it's got to be exact within 1 degree. For me, at least, that's the way I read it. When it comes to squares, I only mess around with something between 0 and 1 degree. So if you had anything, what would square Leo would be Scorpio and Taurus. And then when we're dealing with fixed signs, all of these are fixed signs. The fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. So, and the fixed energy is stabilizing. It's to stabilize something. Okay, let's see. Anything else with this new moon phase? You could have a soft aspect, like a sextile or a trine to it, but it's not as strong, but it's still there. So, yeah. And the conjunction can be, it's a strong aspect, but it can be very neutral. It can be positive, or it can be challenging, or it can be neutral. But you kind of, I can never say what it is, because I don't have your whole chart, and you have to take the whole chart into consideration with, because these lunations are always happening every month. So yeah, okay, let's go ahead and go to Mercury retrograde. Mercury stations retrograde at 9:57 p.m. on Sunday night. So after the new moon, the moon will be in 21 degrees of Leo by then, where we're deepening and blossoming something, and possibly, I would think, that's more of our creative self-expression. And for those of us, the Pluto and Leo generation, well, the older ones have it in earlier signs of Leo, earlier degrees of the sign. But like for me, my Pluto and Leo's at 23 degrees. So for those of us who are, I'm 70, but I would say anything in here, between, if you're 80 or 60, 665. Let's see. Hold on. Let me look and see. I have that list somewhere in this folder. Yeah. Pluto and Leo. So any time if you were born between 1939 and 1958, it's possible that you have. Now there was a retrogradation. So yeah, 1939 is pretty, that would be pretty elderly. But 1958 is possible. There's a lot of you that have Pluto and Virgo in the early degree, like 0 degree Pluto and Virgo. But anyway, yeah. So it's possible that you could be, like I said, 65, 66, and have Pluto and Leo. And then on up to, 80s. Yeah. So the cool thing about that is that the moon at some point, while the moon's in Leo, will cross over your natal Pluto, and every year when the moon, every Leo season, or I'm sorry, every time the moon hits Leo, you would have those hits to your natal Pluto, and your natal Pluto, of course, is helping you to evolve, helping you to, come into your true power. It helps to clear the soul. It helps to transform the soul. It's where we evolve. It's where we, have our rebirths. So, and then the other thing that I'm really drawn to with this Mercury retrograde, now it's starting at, like I said, 9:57 p.m. at 4 degrees of Virgo, but it's going to move back and hit, it won't take long before it hits Virgo. It's already pretty tight orb there. Venus in Virgo, because Venus is now newly into Virgo as well. I didn't do a separate chart for that because I figured it's all right here. But earlier, Venus came into Virgo, and it formed this aspect right here. These two inconjuncts, and the sextile up here is a yod, a finger of God, finger of fate, finger of God. So now with Venus, remember, the planet ruling women, abundance, money, relationships, unity, consciousness, harmony, beauty, making those comparison values, and where we want gratification. In Virgo, we want the facts, we want the truth, we want divine order. Virgo, in its the highest level, the highest emanation of the sign is about divine order. So, with this aspect here, coming from Pluto to, remember the Pluto-Neptune sextile that's still going on, now we've got those two inconjuncts. With Pluto being the stronger energy, it has to do with the power of humanity under the law of brotherhood and sisterhood, and then connected to source energy that is holding space for us to include everyone, and the connection to, everyone that's in the state of love, right? We can include anyone who's not. We just don't have to give them our attention or our power. That's, not to victimize yourself ever. But with this point down here, with the leading edge headed towards, so these two outer planets are holding space for the harmony to come in, the opportunity to bring through the harmony of divine order. So that's there with this Mercury retrogradation. That's really, really wonderful. So now, when Mercury retrogrades, I'll just say this and then I'll close it up. When Mercury retrogrades, just remember, Mercury is our messenger planet. It brings through news, it brings through votes, it negotiates, it links people together, it creates links in our brain so that we can find the patterns, so that we can track the patterns, and we can translate the information, and we can analyze the information, and we can rationalize within our brain what might possibly happen now that we know what we know. And look how we do only have that 5 degrees of separation here with Mars and Jupiter. We will be dealing with this. Information will be on fire this next week while Mercury's retrograding again and hooking up with Venus, right? So the messenger planet ruling Virgo and Gemini, again, synthesizing, is that the right word? No. Analyzing information is what I wanted to say. Analyzing and getting really clear on what the facts are as to what happened in the past, because Mercury's going retrograde. Now, it doesn't move backwards. It's just our perspective on Earth. It's the difference between the Earth wobble and rotation and all of that. But Mercury, none of the planets actually move backwards. The retrogradation process is for us on Earth so that we can redo, revise, reevaluate, fix something that was about to break, but we didn't know it. And now we learn that, oh, yep, this is something I got to take better care of. Or, yeah, now it is time to get that new computer. And because Mercury rules, communication and writing, everything that has to do with writing, this might be a really good time if you've been writing a book or a website, or you've been writing any copy, any text for anything. This would be really good for editing. Not to put it out yet, but for editing. And if you did already put it out, this would be a time for, editing. Revamping, some revamping there. And wherever this is showing up in your chart, right, when you're going to have to you're going to have to look at your chart and go, okay, where's 4 degrees of Virgo? And know that it's going to stay retrograde. It's going to start, the retrogradation process all the way through to August 4th. So here you want to take some notes, okay? So from today, August 4th, starting out at 4 degrees of Virgo, and it will last until August 28th, and it will retrograde back to 21 degrees of Leo. So this Leo moon at 21 degrees this morning is really important. Or today, all day actually. Yeah. So again, if you have a later degree Pluto in your chart, this will be important too. This will be really important to help you with your rebirthing and empowering yourself. And the Virgo, the Mercury retrograde in Virgo can turn out to be, because of the aspect of the finger of fate, the yod here, because it's connected to Venus. This can really help you to love yourself, love your body, to have that ability to create that divine order within you by just being okay with being utterly, utterly human. Virgo is very, very earthly and human. It's very in the body. So, yeah. And Virgo always is learning too. It's learning, and it's discriminating based on the new information that comes in, and then you discern, and then that's where things can go into some synthesizing within that creates even more opportunities that are very personal to you, and helps you to reflect within, and then also to share what your opportunities are. Because it's like the sharing of information with the connection to Venus here, because Venus shares. She shares. And Venus, remember, is our personal love. Neptune is our spiritual unconditional love. Okay? Because it's sourced in unity consciousness. But Virgo is the earthly, human counterpart that can definitely go there, and we certainly have that connection. We can make that adjustment. In fact, it won't feel good unless we're making that adjustment to what nurtures everyone else, what nurtures the earth even, right? I mean, without Mother Earth, we're kind of screwed, aren't we? I don't want to go live on another planet in a spaceship. And I don't want to live in some cave under the sea like some people talk about. Like, what? No, thank you. So, yeah. Okay, anything else with Mercury retrograde? Yeah, just, that setting the new moon intention will be super powerful. And especially if you want to set the intention for a smooth Mercury retrograde experience over the next few weeks. If you have any natal planets between 2 degrees of Virgo and 23 degrees of Leo, or that'll be the house. Like if you look at your chart and figure out where's 2 degrees of Virgo and where's 23 degrees of Leo, That's where the whole Mercury retrograde experience will be for you. And then you have to look and see if that makes any aspects, right? And also, you would want to look and see what is your natal Mercury. And in this case, also, where's your natal Venus? Because that can give you other clues as well as to just like the natural energies in your chart, the natural way that you function. So I think that's it. If you have any questions, drop it in the comments once I get this uploaded, but I'm not thinking of anything else right now. Okay, take good care. Bye.